Torah portion is the Torah portion of Ki Teitzei, which talks about all kinds of different mitzvot, all kinds of different categories of things that we do or we don't do. As a matter of fact, from all the different Torah portions in the Torah, this one actually has the largest number of commandments, the largest number of mitzvot in the entire Torah, and that is a total of 74 of the 613 mitzvot, of the 613 commandments are found in this week's Torah portion. And it deals with a wide range of different topics, a wide range of different things that we learn about in this week's Torah portion, including laws regarding war, regarding business, forbidden marriages, all kinds of things. And amongst those different mitzvot are also mitzvot related to the actual marriage, the mitzvah of getting married, of having a relationship between a man and a woman and getting married. This class will not be about marriage, but we're going to use the marriage as a segue to the actual topic of the class, which will be about Torah, which was exactly what we were talking about before. The importance of learning Torah and the importance of what the accomplishment of Torah in this world. What is the connection between marriage and Torah? So we find an interesting discussion in the Talmud, in the tractate of Yevamot. And it says as follows. Rava said, "Come and see how good a wife is. As the verse states, one who has found a woman has found goodness." He is quoting from a verse in Mishlei. The book of Mishlei is the book of Proverbs, and he's quoting a verse there that says, "Matzah isha matzah tov." If one finds a woman, he finds good. This is goodness, by finding a woman by getting married. This is specifically for a man who's getting married, and the idea of finding a wife is very good for him. Now, what does this mean? Do we take this literally, that we're talking here about a actual man and woman getting married, or is this an allegory? Is it talking about something deeper? So the Talmud brings both options. The Talmud says one option is that it's talking about an actual woman. It is a compliment to the woman that we are saying that if a man finds a woman and gets married, he finds goodness. Because by getting married, he's finding goodness. He's finding a wife that will be good for him and be helpful for him. That's one way of looking at it. If we understand this literally, women must be very good because the Torah is praising them. But then there is another way of understanding this. That in fact, this is not talking about an actual woman. It is actually talking, it's an allegory. It's actually talking about the Torah. When we say that if you find a woman, you find good, it's talking about when you find the Torah. And we're comparing the Torah to a woman, saying that just like a woman is good, the Torah is also very good, and by finding Torah, you're finding good. So if you look at it this way, it's also a compliment for the woman. In fact, it's a greater compliment for the woman. As the Talmud continues, if we understand this allegorically, women must be very good, because the Torah is compared to them. The Torah is choosing to compare itself to a woman, must be that women are very good. So either way, however you look at this, however you understand this verse, whether it's meant to be taken literally, whether it is meant to be taken allegorically, either way, it is a great compliment to women. Furthermore, a deeper understanding of why a woman is so important. When you talk about marriage, marriage is often referred to as an edifice, as a building. We say a binyan adayad. We give a blessing when somebody gets married. It should be a binyan adayad, an eternal edifice. It should be that the marriage should last, and it should be a good marriage. We compare it to a building. What is the most important part of the building to make sure the building lasts, and the building is strong? It has to have a good foundation. It's all about the foundation. Who is the foundation of a Jewish marriage, of a Jewish home? The foundation of a Jewish home is the woman. She's the one who keeps the house going, and she is called the foundation of the home. And so, when we say that a woman is the foundation of the home, and we know the foundation is the most important part, we see an importance of the Jewish woman in marriage. So this is all talking about how when if somebody gets married, they should know who is the important part of the relationship. It's obviously the woman. Good thing to know. But now having that preface, opening up with this discussion of marriage and comparing it to Torah, we're now going to shift the discussion to talk a little bit more about the Torah. And we're going to understand what is the Torah all about? What is the purpose of the Torah? What does the Torah accomplish in this world? And what we have to understand is that Torah is all about peace. The purpose of Torah is to bring peace to the world, to make the world a more peaceful place. We're not only talking about the world, the physical world that we see, but in fact, we're saying on a much deeper level. Torah brings together the upper realms and the lower realms. The spirituality and the physicality are brought together in a way of peace and harmony through Torah. How does this work? So let's take a step back. Let's go through a little bit of our history. Let's go back to the very beginning, to before the Torah was given. Before the Torah was given, we had all the way back, we go back to Abraham, the first of our forefathers. Abraham lived a long time before the giving of the Torah, a long time before Mount Sinai. So essentially, there was no Torah at that time. So did Abraham keep the Torah or not? We say Abraham was the first Jew. We say Avraham Avinu, he was the first Jew. And God loved him because he listened to everything. Did he keep the mitzvot or not? Let's see what the Talmud says. We're going to read from the Talmud in the Tractate of Yuma. Rabbi Chama ben Chanina said, throughout the history of our ancestors, they were never without a yeshiva, meaning they were always teaching Torah to students. In Egypt, they had a yeshiva. In the desert, they had a yeshiva. Abraham was old. It says in the verse, Abraham was old, meaning he was wise and studied in yeshiva. As the verse says, and Abraham was old, coming in his days. This double adjective teaches us that old means in wisdom and Torah knowledge, coming in his days mean old in years. So all the way back in Egypt, before the Jewish people even left Egypt, they had a yeshiva. In fact, it says that when Jacob first came down to Egypt, he sent his son Yehuda to go first to Egypt to establish a yeshiva there, so that when Yaakov comes, there's already a yeshiva in Egypt. And again, this is talking about hundreds of years before the giving of the Torah. And you go back further, all the way back to Abraham. Even Abraham, we see clearly Abraham studied the Torah. Avraham Avinu studied Torah. Isaac too was wise and studied in yeshiva. Jacob was as well. Rav said, Abraham fulfilled the entire Torah before it was given. As the verse says, all this is because Abraham listened to my voice and minded my mandate, my commandments, my decrees, and my teachings. So we see clearly that God is saying that Abraham listened to me, he followed my commandments. Abraham kept the entire Torah. Rava said, and others say it was Rav Ashi, Abraham fulfilled the entire Torah, including rabbinic laws, which were enacted after the giving of the Torah, such as the law of Eruv Tavshilin, as the verse says, my teachings in the plural form, teaching us that Abraham fulfilled both the written and oral Torah. So Abraham kept everything. He kept all the mitzvot of the Torah. It says that when the angels came to Abraham, to his tent, and he fed them, it says that he gave them matzah. Because it was Pesach, it was Passover, he gave them matzah. Why was he eating matzah? Because it was Pesach. Already hundreds of years before the Jewish people came to Egypt, never mind left Egypt, he was already eating matzah on Passover. And it says he had a korban Pesach. He had the Pesach sacrifice. We know it says also that Sarah, his wife, lit Shabbat candles. Shabbat candles are not even in the Torah. Shabbat candles is a rabbinic decree from many, many years later. And yet we see that Sarah lights Shabbat candles. And so Abraham, all the way back to Avraham Avinu, they were already keeping all the mitzvot of the Torah from the beginning till the end. So if so, what was accomplished at the giving of the Torah? What was the big deal of Matan Torah, of getting the Torah on Mount Sinai? We had it already. We were keeping it already for 1,000 years already. What's the big news? What's so exciting about receiving the Torah on Mount Sinai if we've already been doing it? It's all been done already. It's all happened already. It's nothing new. There's nothing fresh. What's the big deal? What's it all about? What are we so excited about? Why do we make such a big deal about Matan Torah? And so for this, we have a midrash. The midrash tells us as follows: a parable. It's a parable of a king. The king issued a decree that there are different regions. There's the region of Syria, and there's the region of Rome. And he said that every region should stay in their area. You can't travel between one to the other. You can't just travel from one area to the next. Everybody stay in your area. The Romans stay in Rome. Syrians stay in Syria. Everybody stay in your area, in your section. And this way, everyone's at peace. Everything's better this way. This was a decree of the king. Until one day, the king said, you know what? It's over. Decree is abolished. Now whoever wants can go wherever they want. Romans can go to Syria. Syrians can go to Rome. Everyone can go wherever they want. There is no longer any decree about where you can travel. And then the king finished and he said that I am going to be the one who is going to show you that the rule is broken, to show you that now anybody can travel anywhere they want. I am going to cross the line first, and everybody can follow me and cross the line whichever way they want to go. And this is exactly what happened at Mount Sinai. God, who is the king, made a decree. God said the higher worlds, the upper worlds are for the upper worlds. The lower worlds are for the lower worlds. Hashamayim, shamayim lahashem. The heavens are for God, are for the godly heavenly things. V'ha'aretz livnei adam. The land, the earth is for the people, for the physical. Don't mix. Don't try to mix together. Stay in your zone. Heaven stays in heaven. Earth stays earth. Everybody stays where they belong. Nobody can cross. Nobody can go to the other side. And then God said, at Mount Sinai, he said it's over. The rule is broken. Now the heavens can come down to earth. The earth can go up to heaven. Everybody can now cross the line. And God said, I am going to be the first one. I am going to cross the line first to show you that the line is no longer relevant. And then it says, God, the Lord descended onto Mount Sinai. God came down to this world. And then it says, to Moses, he said, ascend to God. So God came down on the mountain and he told Moshe to go up to the heavens, and therefore they broke the rules, and now the barriers were removed, and whoever wants can cross the line and go to the other side. What does this mean practically? What does that mean for us? It means that the effect of Mount Sinai, the effect of the giving of the Torah, was a fundamental change in the relationship between humanity and God, the Creator. Everything changed. When we do a mitzvah, there are two aspects to the mitzvah. Number one, there's the person who's doing the mitzvah. So I do a mitzvah. I can now connect with the holiness by doing this mitzvah. The second aspect is the object itself becomes a mitzvah object. So if I take a piece of parchment and I write a mezuzah and I make it into a mezuzah, now this piece of parchment becomes a holy object. And now, before it was parchment, now it's a mezuzah. Now it has turned into a mitzvah object. It has turned into a holy object. It changes its whole characteristic from something that's simple to something holy, something special. Before the Torah was given on Mount Sinai, the mitzvah can affect a person. Abraham did the mitzvah and Abraham's soul was flying. Abraham was on fire. Abraham it was great. Everything was amazing. But the object that he did the mitzvah with, nothing changed. It was the same exact dead object before and after, nothing changed. He could take a parchment, he could write a mezuzah, he could put it up on his door. Fantastic. When he's done, he could take that parchment and throw it in the garbage. There is no holiness at all in that parchment, because it is something that is physical, and spirituality, physicality don't mix. There are two different worlds. Something that is physical does not become holy. It doesn't cross the barrier. It stays in its own. Doesn't cross over to the other side. But that was all before the giving of the Torah. That was before Matan Torah. Once Matan Torah came along, now that was annulled. Now that decree has been removed, the barriers have been removed, and now there is no longer a separation. Now, something that was physical, something that is a piece of parchment, can now become holy. It can now become a mitzvah object. It turns into a mezuzah. It's not just a piece of parchment anymore. Now it is something holy. Now it is something meaningful. Now it is something that is completely different, fundamentally changed from what it was before. It becomes the mezuzah. There is another famous story mentioned in the Talmud. It says in the Talmud that when Moshe Rabbeinu came to get the Torah, so as we mentioned, God told Moshe, ascend up to the heavens, come to the heavens. Moshe arrived in the heavens, and the angels suddenly see Moshe walking around. They're like, hey, what's going on over here? They said, what is this son of a woman doing up here? Why is there a human being among us? He doesn't belong here. What is he doing here? And there's a whole discussion that they complained that he's getting the Torah. That's the whole discussion in the Talmud. But before we get, not even looking at the rest of the story, what was the question they had in the first place? They asked, what is this human being doing here? What do you mean, what is he doing here? Were the angels so oblivious? Did they have no idea what was going on earth? Did they really not understand? Did they not get the memo that God is giving the Torah to the Jewish people today? Were they not aware of what's happening in the world? Angels are not stupid. The whole world this was the buzz of everything going on. Everybody knew what was going on. They knew good and well that the Torah was going to the Jewish people today. What's this big surprise? Why are they shocked to see Moshe up in heaven? It makes perfect sense. What's the problem? The problem is that they know about the rule. They know about the decree. They know about the boundaries. Yes, the Jewish people are getting the Torah. Yes, Moshe is getting the Torah from God. Fantastic. But that's only down there. Yeah, you get the Torah down on earth, but you don't cross the boundary. You don't come up here to heaven. You're out of your zone. You don't belong here. This is the place for holy objects. This is the place for God and angels and holy things. It's not a place for human beings. What are you doing up in the heavens? You don't belong here. You're in the wrong section, in the wrong neighborhood. You don't belong here at all. This was their question. They didn't understand, what is Moshe doing? Why is there a human being among us? Why is there a human being crossing the boundary coming up to heaven? Of course, what they didn't know, the answer is that the decree has been abolished. The boundaries are no longer there. Now we have broken the line. Now we can cross. And so there's no problem with Moshe coming up to heaven. And so the answer to the angels is, Moshe came to get the Torah. He came to get the Torah, which the purpose of the Torah, like we mentioned before, is about bringing peace. The Torah is all about bringing peace to the world, bringing peace between the upper realms and the lower realms, bringing peace between the mundane and the holy. And so Moshe is here to break that barrier and make peace, to bring harmony, to harmonize the entire world, all the different aspects of the world, and bring it all together. That is why Moshe is here. He is here to receive the Torah and change the whole course of the entire world and the entire universe. But how do we get there? How do we do this? So now we know that Torah brings peace. Torah's purpose is to bring peace. That's what it's all about. Great, fantastic. How do I do it? How do I use the Torah to make the world a peaceful place? How do I create this harmony between the upper realms and the lower realms? What do I do? What's my part in this process? How do I do this? And so the Rebbe explains that the first step to harmonizing the world is to first start with yourself. First, you got to harmonize yourself. Make peace in your own life. Make peace in your own internal peace within ourselves. And once we do that, then we can affect the peace of the entire world, of the entire universe around us. And so the first thing is, we have within us a positive inclination and a negative inclination. Now, this next part that we're going to learn, you're going to see is very much connected with the Tanya that we have been studying this past week. It's very much connected to the first chapter of Tanya, and also continues as we're going to discuss. A lot of these topics that we're talking about now are directly connected with the Tanya, the first few chapters of the Tanya. So it's very apropos that we're studying this now at the same time. So we each have within us a positive inclination and a negative inclination. We have within us our positive side and our negative side. And our mission is to serve God, not with one, but with both sides. It says you shall love God with all your heart. We say in Shema, with all your heart. Now we could have said b'chol libcha, but instead it says it in a plural way. Why does it say it in plural? To tell you have to use both sides. You have to use both inclinations, both your positive and your negative inclinations. How does this work? How does one serve God with both the positive and the negative at the same time? How can you do that? So we learned in the Tanya that David HaMelech, King David, says that I have removed my animal soul. I have removed the negative side from within me. Now, when we talk about negative, animal soul is not really negative, but rather negative means the lack of positive. If you're not good, you're bad. If you're not serving God, if you're not here for the good purpose, then you're useless. You're doing nothing. So the meaning of bad is really not good. That's what it means in this sense. Anything that is not, in other words, anything that is not a positive force becomes a negative force. And so King David said that I have removed the negativity from within me. As we mentioned in the Tanya class, our negativity, our animal soul, dwells within our hearts. King David said, there is a hollow in my heart. What is that hollow? He has removed that evil, that animal soul. He has removed him. He has destroyed him. It says that he destroyed him through fasting, and he's no longer there. He doesn't come and try to pull me into anything negative and try to get me to do anything the wrong thing, because he's gone. He's irrelevant. He's been removed. This was King David. But that's not the greatest way. That's not the ultimate. The ultimate is to be Abraham. What did Abraham do? Abraham did not remove his evil inclination. Abraham did not destroy the evil. Rather, what Abraham did was he converted the evil. He took that animal soul and said, you animal soul, I want you to use your talents, your enthusiasm, your energy, and use it for good. Use everything you have for the positive. Turn that negative energy into positive energy. Don't destroy it. Don't get rid of it. Harness it and use it to serve God even better. If I can serve God great with one soul, how much better I can serve him with two souls. So you have to harness both souls and bring them together and utilize it to change everything, to change our whole relationship with God and the whole world. Imagine you have a horse. A horse is obviously an animal, right? So the animal soul is a horse. Let's say the human being, the rider, he is the good side. He's the godly soul. And the human being is going to say, what do I need the horse for? Let me get rid of the horse, get rid of the animal, and go on my merry way without having an animal. But obviously, if he were to keep the horse and harness the horse and figure out how to ride the horse without the horse throwing him off, ride the horse, train the horse, now you can get to your destination much faster. Now you have improved your own traveling. The horse is not hindering your travel. The horse is not something you have to take care of now. Rather, the horse is something that helps you achieve your goals. The horse is there to be part of your mission if you're only able to harness the energy. So the wild horse is not going to be helpful for your journey, but a trained horse will. So we have to train our animal souls to take him and make him into a vessel as part of our journey, as part of our mission. Train him to get him on board with what we need to do. This is the ultimate goal. To train our animal soul to join our mission to change the world around us. But before we even go there, take a step back even further. Before we can get to making peace between our animal soul and our godly soul, between our good inclination and our bad inclination, first we have to make peace within ourselves, within our own space. We have to make peace between our minds, our intellect, and our hearts, our emotions. We each have within us, we have an emotional side, we have an intellectual side. We have our minds that lead with intellect, that they understand something and they know this is the better way to go. And then we have a heart. Our heart is tempted. Our heart feels enjoyment, enjoys pleasure. Right? So your mind may tell you, hey, it's not a good idea to eat that cookie. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. You're diabetic. Don't eat the cookie. It's not going to be good for you. You're going to end up in a hospital. But your heart says, I want the cookie. I like it. It tastes good. So who do we follow? Who do we listen to? We have to bring our hearts and mind together, and we have to have them work in harmony as opposed to working against each other. We don't want to have this eternal conflict between us, between our minds and our hearts, each pulling us in different directions. Rather, we want them working together. We want them to work in harmony, to work in peace. What kind of peace do we need? Which one should lead? It is the job of the intellect. We should work with intellect. We should do things that make sense in the service of God. Our mind has to lead, not let our heart lead us to temptation. As Chassidut explains, we'll talk about this more in chapter 3 of Tanya. Moach shalit al halev. The mind has to rule over the heart. Our mind has to be in control. We can't let the heart be in control. The mind has to lead the heart. Now, how does that work? There's two ways of doing that. The lower way of doing that is for the mind to suppress the heart. Suppress the heart, that the emotions no longer are coming to fight the intellect. That the emotions give up. They stop trying to pull you in a different direction. That's one step. But a higher step is that the mind controls the heart and brings him on board. Let the heart want what the mind understands. It is the job of the mind to bring the heart into the mission, to bring him, get him involved, and have this want the same things that you need. The heart should say, I don't want the cookie that's not good for me. I want to eat healthy. I want to do the right thing. I want to do the things that I'm supposed to do. I don't want to do the things that I'm not supposed to do. That is the ultimate level. And this is the ultimate peace between our minds and our hearts. There's a story told of the Rabbi Rashab. Rabbi Rashab was the fifth Chabad Rabbi. His name was Rabbi Shalom Dov Ber. I'm actually named after him. And it says back in 1903, he traveled to Vienna. He lived in Russia and he traveled to Vienna. While he was there, he met up with the famous professor, Dr. Sigmund Freud. And they had a discussion. They spoke about different things. During that discussion, Dr. Freud asked the Rebbe, He says, tell me, what is the essence of Hasidic philosophy? What is it all about? Explain to me what this whole thing is. So the Rebbe explained to him as follows. Hasidut teaches that the mind must tell the heart what to do, and the heart must apply what the mind understands. Dr. Fred was very moved by this concept. As we know, this is completely against his way of thinking. And he says, how can you possibly do that? How is that possible? The mind and the heart are living in completely different worlds. There's a great divide between the mind and the heart, between the intellect and emotions. How do you bridge that divide? How do you bring them together to work in harmony, to work in sync? And so the Rebbe explained, he answered him, indeed, this is the toil of Hasidut, to bridge the gap between these two worlds, or at least connect them with an electric or phone cable. So the Rebbe was telling him, you're right, they are two different worlds. Yes, they don't work in sync. They don't work together. But that's the whole point. That's our mission. Naturally, they're not working in sync. But we have a mission to bring them together. Connect the two. That's what it's all about. That's what the whole mission is. That's the whole challenge. To have them work in sync, to have them come together, to work on one mission, that is the goal. If you can't get them completely connected, at least set up a line of communication. At least connect the two through a wire of some sort where they're able to communicate and they're able to be in sync in that way. But that is the whole goal of Hasidut. So again, we say the purpose of Torah is to bring peace to the world. To bring peace to the world from the upper worlds and the lower worlds. Bring together the holiness and the mundane. The way to do this is through making peace within ourselves. Bringing our Yetzer Tov, our good inclination, and our Yetzer Hara, our bad inclination, bringing them together in peace. Which, as we said, the first step of that is to bring together our hearts and our minds. Have our hearts and minds work in harmony, and that will then bring to the peace of our good side and our bad side, which will then bring us to the ability to make peace between the upper worlds and the lower worlds. There's a letter on this written by the Lubavitcher Rebbe, where he says as follows. One of the foundational values of Chabad philosophy is that the mind and heart, intellect and emotions, should steer and sustain the person's daily life in complete harmony, with the mind dominating the heart. When the mind-heart harmony is present, all aspects of life, whether spiritual or physical, are carried out without any debate, contradiction, or hesitation. During this critical time, it is vitally important to strengthen the spiritual balance of the Jewish youth. The only way to accomplish this is through Torah and mitzvot, with unity and harmony between intellect and emotion, and the mind dominating the heart. So this is the way we have to go. We have to be guided by our intellect and have our emotions follow along and assist the intellect in leading us in the right direction. But peace with ourselves is not enough. That's an important first step. But in order to truly have peace, you can't just have peace with yourself. You also have to have peace with others. You have to have peace with other people around you. Everybody is different. We each have our own unique skills and challenges, every one of us. And we each have different characteristics. Some people are more intellectual. Others are more emotional. And really, we're all on a spectrum. It's a wide spectrum amongst the emotional and amongst the intellectual. It's not, a switch, black or white, right? It's a big spectrum. We're all in different places. We all have different ways of dealing with things. Sometimes a person could look down on someone who's different. Someone who is a great intellectual can say, well, what do you know? You're a simple person. What do you understand? You're not smart like me. You don't get it. You're not on my level. Who are you? What are you? And they have no respect for the other person because they respect intellect, and this person is not an intellectual person. But obviously, we know that this is not the correct way. Why not? Why is it not correct? Because the truth is, deep down in our core, we're all the same. You're not any better than me. Just because you're smarter than me doesn't make you any better than me. We're different. But deep down, we're all the same. God didn't make one person better, another person worse. Deep down, we're all the same. We're all equal. Nobody's greater or better than anybody else. And so when we have this in mind, when we look at the world in this way, we look at the people around us in this way, then we live in peace and harmony with each other. We live in a world of peace and harmony. Kabbalah teaches us that a person has 248 Ivarim, 248 limbs, and 365 sinews. We're made up of 248 parts and 365 sinews. What's the significance of these numbers? 248 corresponds to the 248 positive mitzvot, positive commandments. 365 corresponds to the 365 negative commandments. Mitzvat lo saseh, the things that we are not permitted to do, things we are forbidden from doing. Every one of the mitzvot of the Torah connects with one part of our body. Every mitzvah has a corresponding part in our body. When the mitzvah is healthy, the body part is healthy. There is a direct correlation between how we fulfill the mitzvah that is connected to this body part. But the problem is that we don't really know which mitzvah goes to which body part. We don't really know how to match them up. But there's one mitzvah that we do say. There's one mitzvah that it says, the mitzvah of Anochi. Anochi Hashem Elokecha, the first of the 10 commandments. Anochi Hashem Elokecha asher tzotzicha mi'eretz Mitzrayim, I am the Lord your God who has taken you from the land of Egypt. This mitzvah corresponds to the heart. This mitzvah is the heart. And this mitzvah, every one of us keeps this mitzvah. This is the core Jewishness of every person, where a person is willing to give up their life to be a Jew. Famous story we all know of what was his name? I forget his name now. He was a journalist who was captured in Iraq, I believe. Daniel Pearl. Daniel Pearl. They were torturing him, and he made his final statement, and he said, "I have lived as a Jew. I will die as a Jew." Right? Famous story of Daniel Pearl. The video's out there. He wasn't a religious Jew in any sense of the word, but when it comes down to, in the end of the day, a Jew is a Jew. And he says, deep down in my core, my heart, I'm still a Jew. I'm always a Jew. There's no such thing as a simple Jew. There's no such thing as a sinner Jew. The Jew. We're all a Jew. We're all the same. We all, in our core, deep down, we're all the same. We all have the same heart. We have the same Jewishness pumping through our hearts. We have the same Anochi pumping through our hearts. And on that level, we're all equal. We're all the same. This is why the Baal Shem Tov taught that we have to respect every Jew, no matter who he is. Don't put somebody down for being simple. Don't put somebody down for being unlearned. Don't put somebody down because you feel like they're not on the same level as you are on. Because every single person is equal in this sense. We know that when God first revealed himself to Moshe Rabbeinu, he revealed himself in a burning bush. Why a bush? Because a bush has no fruit. A fruit tree is compared to a Talmid Chacham, someone who has many, who does mitzvot, he learns Torah, he's full, he's great, he's doing great things, he's producing fruits. A bush, a simple bush that has no fruit. This is a simple person. He's accomplishing nothing. He has no Torah, no mitzvot. Yet we say God revealed himself specifically in this kind of bush. He specifically came in a bush where there is no fruits, there is no visible greatness in this person. And yet that's where God chose to be. God is there within every single one of us. God is not too good for any of us. And so we should certainly not be too good for anybody else. So this is the harmony of the Torah. This is the goodness, this is the peace and the harmony that the Torah brings. The Torah brings peace and harmony to the upper worlds and the lower worlds. Connects the greatness of the upper worlds to the tangibility of this world. The Torah connects, brings peace and harmony to our evil and our good sides, brings their inclinations together to work together in harmony. The Torah brings peace and harmony to our hearts and our minds, bringing them together to work in harmony for the greater good. The Torah brings peace amongst all people, that we all have to realize that we all have one single mission, one single core. We all come from the same place. We're all eternally connected, and nobody's greater than anybody else. With this in mind, Torah can bring peace to the entire world all around us, to everybody around us, to bring about the ultimate redemption. With the coming of Mashiach, may it come very speedily in our days. One last final message. What do we do about this? How do we do this? How do we make this reality? So the best way to really bring about this peace into the world, to bring about this deeper understanding of the Torah, is by studying Chassidut. Studying the deeper levels of the Torah. Because Chassidut teaches us how to create a bridge between the desires of the heart and the wisdom of the mind. The purpose of studying Chassidut is not merely to expand knowledge or understanding, but to effect an inner transformation, improve our behavior, and bring the person to internal balance and harmony. This in turn radiates outward, positively affecting our relationships, family, and everyone around us. This is the power of the study of Chassidut. So let us all, especially now before Rosh Hashanah, we can think about how we can expand our study of the Chassidut. We were talking before about the importance of preparing for the high holidays, to studying for the high holidays. There are many deeper levels of understanding on the high holidays. There are many deep Hasidic discourses on the high holidays. There's a wealth of information in English, on Chabad.org and other places. Always feel free to reach out for ideas of what to study, but there's so much out there. Pick something up, go online, get a book, prepare yourself, make the world a better place, and let's bring Mashiach. Thank you for joining.